My name is Jake Harlan, ex-Air National Guard pilot turned bush flyer in the Idaho backcountry. I make a living hauling hunters, fishermen, and the occasional rich dentist who wants to get away from it all. My plane is a 1956 de Havilland Beaver on floats and tundra tires, ugly as sin but tougher than most marriages. Last Thursday I was coming back from dropping a party of elk, hunters near the Frank Church Wilderness. Weather turned nasty fast, ceiling dropped to the treetops, visibility went to milk. I picked the only flat spot I could see, a perfect rectangle of manicured grass in the middle of the pine. Ridge Estates gated community. Technically private property, but also the only place within 20 miles that wasn't vertical. Granite or pine trees. I greased it in, well, mostly. Left wing clipped a plastic flamingo. Propeller chewed up about 40 feet of white vinyl fence, and the Beaver finally sighed. To a stop halfway into Mrs. Karen Whitmore's prized petunia bed, engine ticked itself cool while I sat there doing the math on how many favors I was about to owe the FAA. Before I even unbuckled, she was already marching across her lawn in yoga pants and a visor, phone glued to her ear, voice carrying like a banshee with a megaphone. This is an emergency. There's a terrorist in a propeller plane who just destroyed my yard. Send everyone. Yes, I'll stay on the line. I climbed down, hands visible, trying to look non-terrorist. Ma'am, mechanical diversion. Nobody hurt. I've already filed with Boise Flight Service and... You are on HOA property without prior written approval, she shrieked. Section 14B clearly states no aircraft of any kind. I'm president of the Architectural Committee and I know the rules. 2 county sheriff deputies arrived in under 8 minutes. Impressive. For a place with no crime except unauthorized mailbox colors. Karen pointed at me like I was Osama bin Laden with floats. Arrest him! He's probably drunk. I handed the deputies my licenses, medical, and the Garmin InReach message I'd sent the second I shut down. They were actually pretty reasonable until Karen started screaming that they weren't taking it seriously enough. That's when the black Suburbans rolled in. No lights, no sirens, just 4 identical government SUVs that parked in a perfect row like they'd practiced it. Men and women in Navy windbreakers stepped out. Big yellow letters on the back. FAA Special Agent. The yard went dead quiet, except for Karen's decorative fountain gurgling like it knew something bad was coming. The lead agent was a woman about 5'0", with a bun tighter than Karen's personality. Her badge read Special Agent M. Ortega, Aviation Safety Inspectorate. She didn't raise her voice, which somehow made it scarier. Jacob Harlan? She asked, already knowing the answer. Yes, ma'am. You declared emergency with Boise Center at 1942 Zulu, correct? Correct. She turned to the deputies. Gentlemen, we'll take it from here. Federal preemption under 49. USC Par 44709. You're relieved. Karen wasn't having it. This is private property. You can't just... Ortega finally looked at her like she was a mosquito that had learned English. Ma'am, the National Airspace System supersedes your covenants. Step back. Karen did not step back. She stepped forward, finger already wagging. I know my rights. This man destroyed my landscaping. I demand he be arrested for trespassing, vandalism, reckless endangerment. Ortega held up a tablet. Mrs. Whitmore, are you the same Karen? Whitmore, who filed 14 NOTAM complaints in the past 18 months, claiming low-flying terrorist aircraft. Every time a medevac helicopter transited the area at legal altitude, Karen's mouth opened, closed, opened again. Those were legitimate safety concerns. Those were false reports, Ortega said calmly. Each one triggered an FAA investigation, diverted manpower, and cost the taxpayers approximately $11,000, times 14. The second agent, a guy built like a refrigerator with a crew cut, was already unfolding a pair of cuffs. Karen laughed, high-pitched and insane. You're arresting me? For protecting my community? No, Ortega said. We're detaining you for suspicion of 18. USC, paragraph 35, willfully. Communicating false information concerning an aircraft in flight. Also 49 USC, paragraph X311. Interference with air navigation. By filing malicious reports. And honestly, ma'am, we're just getting started. The deputies were now actively backing away like they wanted no part of whatever. Federal hell was descending. Karen tried to bolt toward her McMansion. Refrigerator guy caught her by the elbow with the gentle certainty of someone who'd done this 1,000 times. The cuffs clicked like punctuation marks. "You can't do this!" she shrieked. "My husband is a lawyer!" "Great," Ortega said without smiling. "He can meet us at the U.S. Attorney's office in Boise tomorrow morning." As they walked her past my propeller, Karen locked eyes with me. For the first time, she looked small. "You did this," she hissed. I just shrugged. "Lady, I just wanted to not die." "You did the rest yourself." They loaded Karen into the back of a Suburban like a sack of expired coupons. She was still yelling about constitutional violations and promising to have everyone's badges. The agents didn't even put the window up. They just let her scream herself hoarse against the glass. Ortega walked over to me while the others photographed the plane and the shredded petunias. "Your aircraft is impounded pending ramp check, but you're not under investigation. Weather declaration was textbook. We've got the tapes." "Appreciate it," I said. "Didn't expect the cavalry to show up this fast." She gave the smallest shrug. "We've been watching Mrs. Whitmore for a while. Today she finally gave us probable cause. You were just the unlucky guy who landed on the tripwire." One of the deputies, the younger one who still had acne, sidled up. "So, is she really going to federal prison?" "Probably not prison," Ortega said, "but she'll lose her ability to file anything with the FAA ever again. Pay a fine that'll make her Botox budget cry, and spend a few nights in custody while the paperwork processes. Sometimes that's enough." Karen's husband chose that moment to pull up in a white Tesla, still wearing golf spikes. He took one look at the scene. Wrecked plane, destroyed fence. His wife cuffed in the back of a government SUV and went the color of spoiled milk. Ortega intercepted him before he could start yelling. "Sir, your wife is being detained on federal charges. You can follow us to the regional office in Boise, or you can call an attorney. Your choice." He opened his mouth, closed it, then did the smartest thing I'd seen any Pine Ridge resident do. He got back in the Tesla and left. By now, half the neighborhood had gathered behind the crime scene tape the agents had, strung across Karen's driveway like Christmas lights from hell. Phones were out. Someone started slow clapping. A teenager yelled, "World's okayest HOA president!" and the laughter spread like wildfire. Ortega turned to me. "We'll need you in Boise tomorrow for the formal statement. But tonight you're free to go. Need a ride?" I looked at my Beaver sitting in the petunias like a drunk moose. "Got a tow truck that does float planes?" She actually smiled. "We've got something better." At 2 a.m., a Chinook thundered over the rooftops, searchlight carving the subdivision into black and white. The downdraft flattened every remaining petunia and sent the inflatable Christmas decorations rolling down the street like tumbleweeds on meth. Pine Ridge Estates had never seen anything like it. Half the neighbors were filming in bathrobes, thinking the apocalypse had finally arrived. A Humvee with Alaska plates followed the helicopter in. Out stepped a crew from the 176th Wing, Air National Guard buddies I'd flown with in Afghanistan. They'd been doing mountain rescue, training 2 drainages, over when my Mayday pinged the network. One text from Ortega, "Need a favor." No paperwork, and they diverted without asking questions. They slung the Beaver like it was a toy, lifted it over the rooftops, and set it gently on a flatbed waiting on the county road. I rode in the Chinook's jump seat, watching Karen's perfect little kingdom shrink beneath us. The pilot, Captain Ramirez, grinned over his shoulder. "Heard you pissed off the wrong housewife, Harlan." Story of my life. By sunrise, I was back at my strip on the Salmon River. Plane in one piece, ego slightly bruised but intact. The FAA cleared me before lunch. Ortega texted a single emoji, a thumbs up and a gavel. Karen made the national news cycle for exactly 1 day. Suburban woman detained after years of fake. Aircraft terror reports, the clip of her being walked to the Suburban in Lululemon leggings, went viral under the caption, "HOA President versus Entire Federal. Government ends exactly how you think." The Pine Ridge HOA dissolved itself 2 weeks later when nobody would run for the board. Rumor is they sold the common areas to the county and turned the gatehouse into a coffee stand. The new sign just says, "Welcome. No rules, just don't be a Karen." I still fly that same Beaver. Every time I overfly what used to be Pine Ridge Estates, I tip a wing at the exact spot where the petunias used to be. There's a bare patch of dirt there now, shaped suspiciously like floats. Someone planted a little wooden sign in the middle. It reads, "Emergency landing zone, authorized by the FAA. Violators will be prosecuted." Have a nice day? I never did get charged for the fence.